What's happening, everybody? Sean Daniel here with Guitar Control. Today, this is an absolute lady killer of a song, Breakeven, by The Script. It's also super easy, and it kind of sounds a little more impressive than it actually is. It's only 4 chords, and a lot of it you're anchored in one spot, so make sure you click the link below, because I'm going to have the chords for all of this. It's really the same 4 chords, and really kind of like the same chord progression, but it's actually flipped, which is kind of like a cool thing that might open up some songwriting ideas for you, and just a very easy way to start maybe memorizing other chord progressions. Basically, the song sounds like this. Until it changes. So first thing you may notice, capo is on the 3rd fret. So all these chords that we're going to talk about are going to be relative to the capo. So the first one, really easy, is E minor. But we're going to make it an E minor 7. And specifically, I want to do it like this. Okay, so this may not be like an E minor that you've played before, but gets the job done. And the great thing about this entire thing, if you maybe already even noticed from watching the playthrough, is I kept my fingers kind of positioned in the same way. There's a couple different ways you can do this, but first thing we're going to do for all these chord voicings is take your ring finger and lock it down on the 3rd fret relative to the capo on the B string. Okay, so right here. Now, all these chords are going to be built with your ring finger right there. You don't have to move these. You can just not even worry about it, right? There it is. So, the E minor 7 technically is going to look like this. Pointer fingers on the 2nd fret of the A string, middle fingers on the 2nd fret of the D string. Now, this can be kind of a reach for some people. So you'll notice actually in the intro I played it with my pinky locked down. It doesn't really matter. You only really need these other 2 fingers to move around the rest of the way. So whatever's more comfortable for you, make sure one of your fingers is on the B string right here, okay? So this E minor shape is going to go to this D major shape. Now, this is maybe an interesting way to play D major if you've never tried this before, but it's really, you just take the E minor and then you spread those fingers apart where your pointer finger goes up a string and your middle finger goes down a string. So now you have 2 on the low E string, open A, open D, and 2 on the G string. This is really a D major chord, but it's a low D major chord. One of the weaknesses of the D major chord, like this, is you only get the bottom 4 strings, or the highest 4 strings, and that actually has a volume discrepancy with maybe some of the bigger open chords like G or D, okay? So to get like a beefier D major, grab this guy. It's technically called an inversion, where the root note is not the lowest note. This is an F sharp note. Okay, so E to D. We're gonna talk about the strumming in just a second. And now we're gonna go to G, right here, middle finger 3rd fret on the low E string, 2nd fret on the A string, pointer finger, and then again, your ring finger stays the same. And then for C, we're just gonna move your middle finger and pointer finger 1 string higher, okay? So technically this is a C add 9, because this note, relative to the capo we've been holding down, is a D note. And a C major chord with a 9 in it, there's regular C major, and then with the D in it, it's technically called a C add 9, okay? So all together we have A minor 7 to G to D, then G to C. So now when we put the strumming pattern on it, okay, sounds really musical. It sounds like a great song, which it is. Give it up for The Script. You gotta love it. So it's really a little bit different than just like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like an 8 count for a song. You can play it like that. That's totally fine. Sometimes it's easier to break things down into just straight downstrokes if you're just starting out. But I think a really cool thing you can do is actually break that 8 count into a 3 count and a 5 count. So what that means is the first chord gets 3 beats, and the next chord gets 5, and that kind of gives a little more lively strumming. So like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. And then if we look at this group of 4 chords, I just knocked something over. Then if we look at this group of 4 chords as pairs of chords, right? The E to the D, they split that bar. They split that 8 count into a 3 and a 5 instead of 4 and 4, okay? Most musical progressions are going to be symmetrical in some way. So once you kind of asymmetricalize these chords, it sounds a little bit different. It sounds kind of cool because it's kind of pushing that chord progression forward, right? So we're splitting that E minor and the D up into a 3 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same thing with the G and the C. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. The reason I started saying the word and in some of those counts is the direction of the pick. All the numbers are going to be downstrokes, and the word and is going to be an upstroke. 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. And there's a million different variations that you can do of that. But just make sure you get that 3 and the 5. Another thing that you can do is really heavily palm mute it, because this is technically the verse of the song. And the reason it's actually nice to palm mute the verses a lot, one, it makes it easier to sing volume-wise because you're kind of choking the volume of the guitar. 2 is because you can add a dynamic into the chorus of the song, which is like the big part of the song, usually the most important part of a pop song. I'm not going to totally sign off on that comment, but it's true when it comes to pop music, and this is definitely pop music, is we're going to do the reverse of those 4 chords. So remember, the verse was E, D, G, C. So if we played that backwards, it would be C, G, D, E. Okay? So it's the same thing. We're just going to flip it. All right? Now you can click the link below to get the chords on here, and you can see the chord chart. It's really just like, E minor 7, D. Sometimes also, too, this inversion of a D major, you can see this as a slash chord with a slash and an F sharp. That F sharp just means it's in the root note, right? So the chorus of this is C, G, D, E minor, C to G, to D to E minor, and that's it. So now that palm muting for the verse became really important, because in the verse, if you're palm muting it, by the time you get to the chorus, it just has a lot more energy. So it's one way to kind of build a lot of energy into your playing is by palm muting the verses and then just going big on the choruses, right? Now the last thing I want to talk about is, because we have there's 4 different chords in kind of the same area, and especially because these are open chords with the capo on the 3rd fret, these open chords are really good opportunities to practice your hammer-ons and your pull-offs, right? So let's talk about what that means with the chorus chords. Instead of just going C to G to D to E, we could go like, like a subtle thing that you can add that kind of spices up your playing a lot. So for this C at 9, let's just have your pointer finger just work on maybe doing a hammer on them. So the first 3 count, 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and hammer on. Okay, you have those 2 extra counts in that 5 count. You can just use your pointer finger to kind of hammer on and off on that G chord. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. Right, that E minor. The nice thing about how the ear is used to kind of playing symmetrically all the time, when you have like a 3 and a 5 count, like what this is, we could have the first 3 match up with the second 3 of the next chord, and then we have those 2 extra beats to kind of maybe just do something fancy. And then a lot of times this will take place when the singer isn't singing over this, whether you're singing along with it, which I definitely urge you to try. Again, absolute lady killer of a song. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, whatever, 4 and 5. 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 4 and 5. do a lot with, right? Whether it's abandoning the shape, kind of going into maybe a scale, which if you're interested on that kind of playing, we've got a ton of other videos on the Guitar Control channel that talk more about scales and inflections and how you can kind of like incorporate all that cool stuff into your chord playing. So definitely make sure to click on any of the surrounding videos here by myself, other great instructors. Again, this is just a real easy one. Anybody can play at any level. It's a good challenge because you can kind of use an easy framework of chords to work on maybe some more technical aspects of your playing with the palm muting and the hammer-ons and stuff. But again, easy one. You're silly not to have this in your repertoire because it's so easy to learn. Like, you just learned it in 11 minutes. So definitely let us know what you guys want to see more of in the comment section, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thanks a lot.